Every year we have teams that go from under the radar to essentially in your face. I'm looking at you, Tennessee Titans. So the big question is, who can do that this year?
Welcome to the Rines Report with your host, Tristan Rines.
The first team that I've got on my list are the Denver Broncos, who got better in both free agency and the NFL draft, improving both sides of the ball and making some really solid moves to help bolster their young quarterback in Drew Lock. Now, in the free agency period, they made a couple of trades, one with the Tennessee Titans to go get defensive lineman Pro Bowler Jarrell Casey, and one with the Jacksonville Jaguars getting cornerback AJ Bouye, and then signing running back Melvin Gordon to team up with Phillip Lindsay in the backfield, formerly the Los Angeles Chargers, and essentially, making some really solid moves in free agency. I think those are going to be, big boosts to both the defensive side of the football as well as a solid addition offensively. And then when it came to the NFL draft, they got better in the receiving game, adding to a Cortland Sutton, solo wide receiving corps, it almost felt like, with wide receivers KJ Hamler in the second round out of Penn State and Jerry Jeudy from Alabama in the first round. So Drew Lock's going to have a lot of weapons at his disposal. As long as the offensive line holds up and does its job for the most part, the Denver Broncos, in my opinion, are going to be taking a huge step forward. Obviously, they're in a very contentious division. The LA Chargers are nothing to scoff at. They went out and made some big moves this free agency as well. Las Vegas Raiders can certainly win a few games within their division. And of course, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs are also in the AFC West. So the Denver Broncos do have their work cut out for them, but I do see them as a potential playoff team coming up into this next season. Another team on my list are the Arizona Cardinals, who got better this offseason under the direction of general manager Steve Keim, as well as input from head coach Cliff Kingsbury, making their entire squad better around offensive rookie of the year Kyler Murray. The biggest addition this offseason being the addition of wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins in a trade with the Houston Texans, and then in the draft getting out the most versatile defensive player, one of the best defensive players in this year's draft, and getting Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson, the man who can play both linebacker, safety, who can get on the edge and get to the quarterback. He's incredibly versatile, and Isaiah Simmons is going to be a huge boost to a defense that already has talent in Chandler Jones, Budda Baker, as well as cornerback and, future Hall of Famer and Patrick Peterson. And they also went out and made a few other offseason moves, getting linebackers Devondre Campbell from the Atlanta Falcons, Devon Kennard from the Detroit Lions, as well as defensive lineman from the Buffalo Bills, Jordan Phillips. So all this to say, the Cardinals are in a very tough NFC West. The Seattle Seahawks, the NFC champion San Francisco 49ers, the LA Rams, again, nothing to scoff at with the LA Rams. The LA Rams making some steps down this offseason, but we'll get to that in another video. But the Arizona Cardinals, I think, are poised to make another good step in the right direction. The offense getting better, the defensive side of the football getting some more veteran presence, some more veteran leadership, and the Arizona Cardinals, one of those teams that could be vying for a potential wildcard spot this season. I'm not making any guarantees because the NFC is incredibly contentious all over the place. But the Arizona Cardinals, I think, are going to take a good step forward this upcoming season. Another team on this list who I think could be sneaky good this year are the Indianapolis Colts. They went out this offseason and made a few really big moves, both in free agency and the draft. In the draft, getting two solid players in Michael Pittman from USC and Jonathan Taylor, the Heisman candidate out of Wisconsin, at running back. So you add a wide receiver to a wide receiver that core that already has some speedy guys, as well as T.Y. Hilton. And then the backfield, you've already got Marlon Mack. So you add Jonathan Taylor into that, mix, including Nyheim Hines as well. And you've got yourself a nice stable of running backs. You get yourself a good quarterback set. And then on top of that, you got quarterback Phillip Rivers, formerly of the Chargers. Put him behind that monstrous offensive line, headlined by Quentin Nelson. And the offense is going to be a tremendous upgrade. It's going to see a tremendous, boost in production. Nothing against Jacoby Brissett. I think he was a serviceable quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, but I don't think he's what they want long term. And I think bringing in Phillip Rivers potentially helps bring in that, veteran leadership, that veteran, passing down the proverbial, just the knowledge down to the guys like Jacoby Brissett, down to guys like Jacob Eason, who was taken in day 3 of the NFL draft. So getting Phillip Rivers can help bolster some leadership, again, pass down some knowledge, pass down some guidance to the other quarterbacks on the roster, so that moving forward you can either have a lot of confidence in either Brissett or Jacob Eason or whoever else you have on the roster, or you can understandably say, hey, look, like, these guys are good, we like them, but they're not quite the future of the franchise, but we understand that, you know, these guys will be serviceable for a few years. And then on the defensive side of the football, they got DeForest Buckner in a trade with the San Francisco 49ers, so sending their first round pick to get better on the defensive line. I think DeForest Buckner becomes their primary pass rusher for the Indianapolis Colts. He becomes their, you know, big element on the defense that already has a couple of good players outside of that, most notably Darius Leonard. So the Indianapolis Colts getting sneakily better. I don't think a lot of people have paid a ton of attention to them besides, you know, making some minor improvements on their jerseys, but a team to look out for this upcoming season in the AFC. And the final team I want to talk about in this video are the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Browns went out and got a ton of guys in free agency and made a huge splash in the draft, getting Jedrick Wills. Free agency, seeing guys like Jack Conklin come in, Austin Hooper, Andy Janovich via trade, Andrew Sendejo, safety Carl Joseph, formerly of the Raiders. So the Cleveland Browns got a lot more talented on both sides of the football, bringing in new head coach, the third head coach or fourth head coach in the last 3 years, and Kevin Stefanski, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, an offensive-minded head coach. They also got a new GM, by the way, Andrew Berry, who's doing very good work. But the Cleveland Browns getting a lot more offensive-minded. There's a ton of talent on both sides of the football, and I want to put a lot of emphasis on that because this is a team that it feels like doesn't have a lot of excuses. The Cleveland Browns have enough talent on this roster to be a potential playoff team under the new format, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Myles Garrett potentially getting a contract extension, being reinstated to play this upcoming season whenever that is actually going to happen, hopefully going to be happening on time. But the Cleveland Browns are, you know, stacked with talent. I like what they've been doing most recently, and, you know, the potential is through the roof. The potential for the Cleveland Browns is through the roof, but understandably, it's still the Cleveland Browns. No one knows that this entire formula, this chemistry, this science experiment of a football team is going to work out. But I'm holding out some hope. I'm sure Browns fans are holding out some hope. And fans like me of the game who have watched the Browns be pretty much terrible for the last 20 years are holding out hope that the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to put it all together this year and make a solid run in the playoffs. So a shorter video this week, not a whole lot going on this offseason, hitting that downward slope of, you know, not a whole lot of news. Still some dudes left on the market. Cam Newton, where is he going to go? Some couple of storylines to be keeping an eye on, and I'm going to keep you as updated as I possibly can right here on the channel. So thank you so much for watching the video. All my social medias are down in the description below. Feel free to stick around, watch some more content. Feel free to subscribe, get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. Hit the comment section, ask me some questions if you feel like it. Like, share, all the good stuff. And I'm going to catch you in the next video. Adios.